Once upon a time, there was nothing. There was nothing forever. There was nothing infinitely. There was nothing everywhere. There was nothing always. Forever. Infinitely. Always. Then one day, nothing happened. The end.
If the general picture, however, of a Big Bang followed by an expanding universe is correct, what happened before that? Was the universe devoid of all matter and then the matter suddenly, somehow created? How did that happen? In many cultures, the customary answer is that a god or gods.
Wake up. You're in a dream. You are in an acid dream.
People awaken. Now, I'm not sure if he fully grasped the implication for his own product line had that occurred, but in any case, you're on it, you're with me, yes. It's very hard to give these lectures in such a way so that every person hears something different, which is what is supposed to be going on, you know. Well, so thinking about this comment that people are asleep, I see several implications. I asked myself, what is awake?
Tu existes
J'existe? Oui, oui, j'existe.
Tu existes?
Ouais.
Stop.
Et viens pas.
Attends. Stop, moi je vais voir les puissons.
Français ou en anglais? No, I can't answer this question, man.
Well, the meaning of life to me, I divorced my wife 3 years ago, so the meaning of life to me is coming down to Mexico and having a great time. Everything you want is here, and the most beautiful girls anywhere.
So what are you doing out here? Just hanging out?
Hanging out, yeah, having a good time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the purpose of existence?
The purpose of existence? Well, if my kids are taken care of for me, and I have a good job, and as long as I can have money to come down here, I enjoy myself.
Right on, right on.
Right.
Thanks a lot, man.
How do I know even that another person is conscious? How do I know that you're conscious? You know, you're like kind of behaving in plausible ways, and you're like me, so I'm inclined to think that. But I don't have the consciousness meter I can wave at your head to get a readout of your consciousness to prove it for once and for all. So for computers, I mean, the same question comes up again. I think the best way I have to get at it is to think about a gradual transition from me to there. If you think the computer's not going to be conscious, well, during that gradual transition, something has to go wrong. Either the consciousness suddenly disappears, massive discontinuity at a certain point, or it fades out. And someone could say, well, maybe that happens, but I think there's good reason to think that those things are actually pretty implausible.
La vie.
La vie.
Oui. Ça
La
veut
vie.
dire quoi? Ça veut...
Quoi est le sens?
Aspirer, respirer. Prendre des souffles.
Le droit à la paresse. The right to live.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
What do you think?
I also think that God, as in the Bible, or as somebody has created him to be that picture, it is dying if it.
I'm sorry.
The meaning of life is what you decide. The world has no meaning in itself.
Somewhere in 1995, I started making this film, and it was an interesting experiment. And I found that that I could stalk people in the streets and walk up to them and follow them, and ask them with the camera what the meaning of life was, what their belief systems were, and oddly, they would answer the question.
There are only a certain number of intellectual products on the market. What is science selling? Science is selling the idea that some time ago, for no reason, the Earth sprang from nothing in a single moment. Well, now, whatever you may think about that idea, notice that it's the limit case for credulity.
From early colonial times. In the American family of the past, religion played an important role in holding the family together as an institution.
Sometimes when I tell people that I'm making this film or whatever, and I tell people about my childhood, my infancy, and my early development, and that I had LSD in my mother's breast milk. They often go, "Oh, that explains it," but I'm not really sure if it does. I've been tripping about philosophy all my life. And I've often had this issue with identity because I've got grandparents that were pilots, and they were going back and forth to America, back to Europe. Drugs. And is that the reason why I am the way I am? Probably. But whatever. I guess the question is, what kind of situation would allow for a young infant to consume LSD? And I would say that would be, well, the counterculture being a bit sloppy, but maybe not. Maybe there were some calculated decisions.
The nexus of concerns that clusters around the question, what are we? Where did we come from? And where are we going? And as a 14-year-old, 16-year-old, when these questions first form in your mind, a reasonable response is to seek the cultural database. Surely there are answers to these questions.
Really, I don't know what made me crazy, but something did. Yeah, probably has something to do with my childhood. So maybe even genetic.
Yeah,
but
so,
anyway, I've always had sort of a challenge ever since I started making this film, but even before then, where I've felt like Vincent van Gogh. But I've got issues.
Shadi, I got us some espresso here. Okay, we do have some questions. You want some black coffee?
Love some black coffee.
What's a little bit of half and half?
Yeah.
I don't have no sugar.
My mother was a Jesus freak. She raised us Christian, fundamentalist Christian.
I don't have the fundamentalist faith as I did before, but I still hold on to a lot of the Judeo-Christian principles of, like the Ten Commandments. Not all 10 commandments, but, pretty much the one command that's most important in Christianity is do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and that's the golden rule. That's my spirituality today. 2007. May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. I didn't even drink my coffee yet this morning. It's a little too hot. Need some sugar. Live aloha.
Hegel is the epitome of a systematic philosopher. That's to say, he wants to construct a self-grounding and all-encompassing totality of thought that incorporates nature, history, religion, art, and, of course, the human being within that totality. And for Kierkegaard, he did accept that man is a part of nature, a part of history, a part of society to some extent, but he also thought that the human being has an inner life, inwardness, as he calls it, that is separate from this outside world and that can't be assimilated into a system, that can't be rationalised, that can't even perhaps be articulated. And it's that inward sphere that Kierkegaard thinks Hegel's philosophy doesn't do justice to. to try to construct a philosophical system is to take up an objective standpoint, almost a God's eye kind of perspective on the whole. And Kierkegaard thought that that's not a perspective that we as human beings are entitled to. You know, in a sense, it's a sinful self-assertion to try to occupy that godlike position. So on the one hand, there's a religious motivation for that critique, but there's also a philosophical motivation for it too, namely that Kierkegaard thinks that we, each of us, are alive, we're living in the world, we're temporal beings, we're always in the process of becoming.
So, yeah, I think I started to lose it, or really lose it, in France. I decided to go down there in order to sort of develop a sense of higher power. You know, because I was sort of an atheist or whatever, and that's when I started to lose it. And that's when I started to make this film. Yeah, I don't know why I feel like I need to show people this video sequence from France in the late 90s, but I think it sort of illustrates what I was going through, sort of, you know, a bit crack-addled maniac, you know? And, yeah.
Well, that's a bit more complex. I think it's more, we're all connected. Everything is connected, and I feel that way with most things. I feel that everything's connected in one way or another, and like the whole theory of karma and the whole theory of, you know, do unto others as you would do unto you. That whole thing, I think that really reflects in the universe and how it is, the nature is how, you know, good things happen, bad things happen, and we're all there to be a part of it. That's where I can put it.
My experiences in life and every country and state I've been to, life's a journey. Everyone you meet leaves a mark on your soul, and it's all good times, my friend. And I also hood to that. Cheers, mate.
Be forgiving.
Go ahead.
Life is living.
You will search towards the end of time for that answer. Let's put it that way.
Army? Yeah.
I don't have a definite answer. Like, I don't really know what to say, like, you know, exactly, like, the meaning of life. I mean, just I live it day by day and enjoy it. And I guess that's about it. Just have no definite answer, you know?
My particular region of my brain that was dreaming sort of developed this concern, and I sort of had problems of concern, and my dreams were being affected.
self, and then suddenly you have a dream. In the New York Times last year, there was an article in the Sunday supplement, a study done on mysticism in America. And it said 2/5 of the population of the United States have had a transcendent mystical experience. That's an enormous number of people who have gone outside of their ego structure. A sampling of those 2/5, 85% said it was the most profound experience of my life and I never want to have another one. Who you are in an evolutionary sense is somebody who in this very lifetime has begun to awaken to your predicament of a limited reality. That's it.
Familia. Lo mejor porque para mí es mi familia, mis hermanos, todo eso.
Por mi familia.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Buenas. Buenas. Buenas.
Me agarraste en el momento de que...
Te agarré en la hora pico.
Sí, para darle el... De todas maneras...
la cámara de lente loco.
De todas maneras...
Puedes. It's like asking. ¿Puedes?
¿Puedes
decirme
decirme
el significado de la vida? Para ti, ¿qué es? ¿Cómo piensas?
¿Hablas inglés?
Tú. No. Habla español. Dile tú pues. Tell him.
¿Cuál es significado de la vida?
Decirme.
Yeah.
Sí, decirme.
It's all around. The people. You can breathe.
Aquí mira que saca el niño.
You can see and make food. Eat. Smile the people. That's the life. And enjoying the life. I think that's the significado de la vida.
Mexican candies. Go. Vas a salir en la tele, carnal.
She's more interesting.
Donc, je suis.
Je pense donc je suis. Bah oui, je pense donc je suis. Mais les animaux pensent peut-être pas.
So I went back to France and I went back down to the Riviera and I asked, people the meaning of life, but I ran into this elderly woman and I just decided to ask her about the beginning of modern philosophy, René Descartes, and if it's true that he really did figure out that he existed, because he said he existed, je pense donc je suis. Did he really figure out that he existed?
Dans son temps peut-être.
She said, I don't know, maybe. So I went down to Munich, Germany, and I met this girl who's got a mother that's repatriated to Germany, and that she gave up her passport, but her daughter speaks perfect English. So I asked her what the meaning of life is.
For all life to consciously live in harmony, and so that means for all life forms to grow more conscious of themselves and the rest of that one being that we're all part of, which in other words means love. And a lot of people, when I say that, a lot of people say like, oh, but that's only talking about human beings. I don't think it is, because I think a lot of other life forms probably are already pretty conscious.
Let's get off here.
So he decided to find the men in Athens whom he supposed were the wisest, and to question them to assure himself they knew more than he did. After many discussions with these men, he decided he was in fact wiser, because he knew nothing, whereas they, even though as ignorant as he, believed they were wise.
I asked this other German woman, does she believe that God is dead, like Friedrich Nietzsche says?
God is dead? That's a difficult question.
True or not true?
It's not true. It's not true. Because he did never exist. So okay.
It's not dead already for many. This picture, it's the picture. But the meaning of it, more and more people know that it's love, and that is universal. So more and more people create their own active belief, so that they know what's right for them, and they feel the love in their hearts. So that is how they measure how to be in the world, going after what their hearts say and not what the Bible or any other book says. So I think if you see it in that way, it's good that God is dead in that way.
God is dead in that way?
Yeah, to me.
Say that again, so I can hear it. Say it one more time.
Yeah, that.
Good that God is.
Well, in that regard, if God is a picture that tells you how to be, and then this statement, it's just true.
It's a valid statement.
It's a valid statement to me. Yes.
Yeah, well, I think the picture is transforming. I wouldn't say God. I wouldn't. I mean, if I said God is dead, I don't know if that would be the right. I wouldn't say that. I'd say God had a picture at a certain time, or God was pictured in some way at a certain time, and it had its time. But I think the picture of God is transforming to something else now.
One of the symptoms of cultural disintegration is simply that people lose the ability to distinguish between dream and memory. And that somehow one's past, one's real past and one's dream past simply become one's past. And then under certain circumstances, you know, we're basically dream material.
I don't know, but I think about it a lot.
You know, just because you have
and I think that the only meaning of life can be to be happy. The problem is,
in fact, it often makes you very hostile.
Well, you have to find a way to be happy, and that's not as. I don't think that's really easy, and it might be different for everyone.
Okay. Do you have a religion or philosophy?
I always used to be atheist, and I'm still, but I started throughout the last years to believe in things but it's not really a religion. Just, well, I'm trying to, I try to believe in a purpose, but I realized that actually since believing is just something you make up, you can basically believe in anything. So really if there's something that you believe in which makes you happy, you can just choose to believe in that. So I don't know. Well, I'm thinking about life a lot, and I haven't really found that many answers, but I think it's really thrilling to think about all these questions. So, but I can't really give you an answer. The meaning of life, I don't know. But for me, it's to find a way to be happy. I don't really, and I think it might be different for everyone. Yeah.
So I met a sort of person that was Buddhist and is from some island in the Pacific, and he asked, well, he wanted to read something in response to my question.
Zazen Buddhism, or sitting meditation, Bodhidharma. Forms for this. Bodhidharma is famous for this. It's not about practice after practice. It is sudden, episodic, but you can expand this insight into practice. A flash of insight, like a flash that flares out. Enlightenment, lightning, boom. It lights up reality. Now, after being lost, boom, you see the reality of the world. 2 aims of Zazen. One of the basic aims of Zazen is increased concentration or focus. Zazen is to remedy loss of confusion. Second aim, another aim of Zazen is Satori.
This is my end, yeah.
the meaning of life is to find the eternal peace within us. We know that we have a lot of pains and suffering in this world. It is a reality. We suffer due to many reasons. From the childhood itself, the suffering starts, and till the death. And for the life also, we are struggling a lot. So we can live a peaceful life if we are able to go to our center. That is the self-governing us, and from that we will be able to understand what the universe is and for what purpose we have come here, and we can overcome the sorrow and misery and enjoy eternal bliss or peace in the life. And that's all, in short.
I'm sorry. The meaning of life is what you decide. The world has no meaning in itself. But it can have any meaning which you ascribe to it. That's it. But you have to live through. First to understand what is driving you through life. The urge to live on. Even the blind wants to continue. Even the deaf wants to continue. Even the handicapped, they want to continue. Even the sick person, they want to continue. People, those who want to live, are disappointed. No, not because from life, but their own experiences, memories. They are not having the life as they would want it to be. So, find out the urge to live on. What is the cause? It comes from within. It's a great mystery. You can either try to understand and weave logic around it, or you can delve into it and experience and enjoy the mystery.
So just as my daughter's getting old enough, I decided to ask her.
Life.
Princess. Buried in lemons.
Do you like life?
Yes. Rocky, muddy puddles.
Azalea, attends, from...
Well, I had finished this film, and it was good. I liked what I did, and I did, but the problem was I didn't figure out what I learned from it, and I had a lot of thought. I walked through the woods quite a bit. I realised that the primary thing that changed was that I have more suspicion. I have a deeper suspicion that there is some intelligence consciousness, and but I wouldn't claim to know that much about it. I seem to be out of the loop. Well, since then I've done quite a bit of experiment. But one of them, of course, is meditation. A bit of drugs, but not a lot, honestly. I'm not big into drugs anymore. I think they can. There's a limit, and then it's just destructive. So, lots of books. But I have had one conversation with an individual, and I tended to agree with what he said when we were in the woods, that it's something about infinite exploration, like constant creation. Just, I think there's this consciousness that is creating dreams. It's just giving birth to dream upon dream upon dream. And if I were pressed, I would bet on that. I would bet that there's something, and it's dreaming, and it's enjoying the process of the dreams. Gives itself temporary amnesia sometimes. And that's if I were to bet. I don't have a lot of data behind that. I mean, is there data? But, yeah, I think that's what, it's my working theory at the moment.
You will search towards the end of time for that answer. Let's put it that way.
I believe. You know, some science fiction writers such as Greg Egan and others have suggested that this could even be a form of recorded medium. You can see the thumbprints of editors on our reality. If you are truly paying attention of events, then you have to look very carefully at how unrandom and how mythical and archetypal most people's lives are. But in fact, ordinary people's lives, everyone's lives, are touched by deep magic. And I've, you know, again, the primary datum is experience, and then the models are built backward from the primary data without prejudice and in an attempt to transcend historical momentum. The secret of, I don't want to say anything as pretentious as transcendence or enlightenment, but the secret of taking hold of one's destiny is to understand that one is a character. A character is a different thing than this model you inherit out of the idea that you're a three-dimensional animal inside a democracy with a Christian heritage and you know, a Dewey Decimal cataloging system or whatever. Anyway, these are some of the notions that occur to me in the context of comparing dream on many scales. You have to really struggle, I think, to believe that you actually live inside the model of reality that science and Newtonian physics and the mathematical analysis of nature have given us